1989, Pontiac, Illinois. The brutal murder of a prison guard led to the transfer of Latin King leader Lord Gino to Pontiac Prison. The move, intended to cut off his control of the Latin King nation, had no effect.
He controlled the prisoners. He controlled them all of them.
The Kings are the largest gang in prison, and their most feared gang in prison. They have access to a lot of weapons and drugs inside prison.
But trouble was brewing in the kingdom. For more than 5 years, Sonia Rodriguez, Lady Q, had been Lord Gino's girlfriend and helped him run the nation.
I used to visit him 5 times a month, talk on the phone. I mean, being his girlfriend is not glamorous at all.
Lady Q caught wind of a rumor that one of Lord Gino's closest associates was a snitch. Gino didn't buy it.
I can tell Gino he's no good till my face turned blue. Gino was not going to believe no one until that person messed up themselves. I told Gino what they're saying is true. He's no good. He's a trick.
Soon, Lady Q made a request of the Corona. She was tired of the life and asked Lord Gino to retire.
I wanted him to give up his crown, do his time, get out, and make a life with me. That's what I wanted.
Lord Gino refused.
I guess the power was all to him. That's all that really mattered at the time, was having that power.
Lady Q walked away from Gino and her standing as the Queen of Queens. It didn't take long for Lord Gino to find a replacement. In 1990, he was transferred again, this time to Menard Correctional Facility, 350 miles south of Chicago. There, he legally married Marisol Rodriguez. Like Lady Q before her, she became his eyes and ears.
He's collaborating with his wife, and he sends a lot of messages through her to the streets.
Lord Gino's power seemed undiminished, and he was close to being a free man. In 1997, Lord Gino was finally eligible for parole after spending 25 years in various prisons. He had no idea that behind the scenes, the ATF had been quietly building a federal case against him, uncovering proof of his drug business.
He had numerous cell phones. Even as cell phones were starting to become new wave, he had a network that he was able to communicate with people on the outside.
Lord Gino was granted parole and scheduled to be released from prison. The nation was prepared to receive its king.
Every chapter was on standby because there was going to be a big nation party that weekend for him.
At the last minute, the ATF dramatically took Lord Gino into custody before he even left his cell.
Gino Colon was taken out on a stretcher and bound to the stretcher. We knew that if we went down there in force and showed up, we were causing a possible problem for the prison population.
He was charged with conspiracy, contributing drug trafficking, and all kinds of charges.
Gino's wife, Marisol, was also charged with conspiring to distribute cocaine, heroin, and marijuana. The Latin Kings were stunned.
Bam! Just knocked our head off. Wow. Everybody started pointing fingers, everybody started talking about it was this brother, it was that brother, it was his wife gave one. There's all kinds of rumors going around.
I cried. I was actually sitting in my kitchen, and my sister called me, and she's like, Gino's on the news. And I turned on the news, and I'm like, wow, again.
Lord Gino was found guilty of 18 charges, ranging from drug conspiracy to using a telephone to facilitate a drug felony. He was sentenced to life imprisonment and transferred to the United States Supermax in Florence, Colorado.
They based the whole trial on the phone conversations. They found him guilty on 18 charges and found him not guilty on 1. They gave him the door to appeal, and I'm praying to God that he beats the appeal.
For the first time, Lord Gino was put in lockdown, confined 23 hours a day, and allowed only 2 phone calls a month. It was a blow to the Latin Kings, but they wouldn't go down without a fight. From 1997 to 2003, the Latin Kings expanded their criminal enterprise in Chicago.
Latin Kings were heavily involved in the fake green cards for aliens. They were making a lot of money off of that.
The gang had other, more sinister scams.
What we call tumbes. Means we find a drug dealer who's in the neighborhood. He's not paying taxes to us, so we go and stick up his house and take all his dope and money.
They started to create legitimate businesses. Any type of business that's a cash business, because you're allowed to funnel money through it.
In December 2003, 5 years after Lord Gino's arrest, a joint task force mounted yet another major offensive against the Latin Kings. Operation Broken Crown. For 3 years, the task force gathered hundreds of hours of secret tapes, wires, and recordings, including this violation of a gang member. But the investigation's prime focus was on the Latin King's second-in-command, Fernando Ace King.
Number 2 has been sort of the target spot for the feds.
The task force laid a trap for Ace and the gang, using snitches inside the Latin Kings. One informant posed as a drug dealer and gave Ace a kilo of fake cocaine in return for protection.
Tell me.
On December 5th, 2006, the feds sprung their trap. Ace was picked up at his mother's house and charged with drug conspiracy and cocaine distribution.
I believe we had in excess of 100 undercover recordings with Fernando King, either in person or maybe on a telephone, a quick phone call.
Ace and 34 other Latin Kings were arrested on charges ranging from conspiracy to possess and distribute cocaine to being a felon in possession of a firearm. 34 were found guilty and sentenced between 5 to 40 years in prison. Fernando Ace King was found guilty of all charges. His sentence is still pending. The task force had succeeded with Operation Broken Crown, but there would always be more kings where Ace had come from.
You kill me, the next one born the next day. You kill him, and there will be another one born the day after. You can't get rid of us. We're here to stay.